This is Dan Preece, your woodworking, garage dwelling, midnight crazy person. Did you notice this sweet music at the beginning there? We are doing an about face at Art Giving Hope, formerly Art for OUR, and I'll share some details about that here in a minute. Before we go any further, I want to give absolute full credit to a lady named Jennifer McCurdy. You can find her at Jennifer McCurdy. That's MCCURDY.com. She makes vases, vases, I'm not sure what you call them. I believe it's ceramic, embellished, carved ceramics. I'm not an expert at that, so I can't speak to that. But I just showed you a photo next to my log of a piece that I've been seeing on the internet for a long time, and I just absolutely love her work. Just amazing stuff. And I don't deal with ceramics, that's not my thing, but resin and wood, similar, can be done, so you can do similar things to it. And so I emailed her and said, hey, love this piece, love the type of things you're doing. Could I use your style, your designs to come up with something of my own? And she said yes, and that was very generous of her. So full credit to her. I'll put links to her website and that on the video description. So please support her if that's something you're interested in. The piece of wood I'm using is a hollow log I found. One day my staff and I were getting ready for lunch, and I can't remember what happened, but they didn't order me lunch on accident, or my part didn't come in through the delivery guy. So I had to hit the road and get my own food. Then I was driving along and just happened to see this log sitting on the side of the road, and there's a whole pile of them. So I got permission to take a few, and it just looked so sweet that I thought surely I'd be able to use this for something. And one thing led to another. I saw Jennifer's stuff, and I thought this would be a perfect piece to try it and do a wood and light blue clear version of it. See what came of it. So this is my very amateur attempt at reproducing her awesome work. And I like how this one came out. I know some of you hate it when I'm critical of my own work, and I appreciate people trying to protect other people from themselves, but hear me out. This is the first time I tried this kind of thing. I put this on the lathe and had every intention of rounding it and shaping it initially. And then I started carving, and then I just never stopped. I liked where it was taking me. The lathe is super helpful for positioning and holding things, and it's a great workbench that I can get underneath and around, and it's where all my stuff's set up, so just worked out great. But if you're wondering why this never turned into a wood turning video, that's why. I just decided to keep going. There was a couple of reasons for it. You can see that I lined the stump with these plastic sheets and then poured resin in it, put it in the vacuum chamber, and then the pressure pot to get all the bubbles out, and that worked great. And the whole point of that was not just to get resin in there, it's also to save resin, but I wanted to get layers of resin on the outside of the log where I knew these edges of flame and feather looking arms would come up, and I wanted to have resin in and wood and resin kind of in and out of it as it went up. And so there was a purpose to that. In hindsight, so when I was turning, or when I was going to turn the piece just to shape it initially, I thought I'm going to lose all my resin, and I didn't want to have that happen. And so I chickened out and just started carving, and anyway, here we are. So I don't usually do colored resin. This is kind of a new one for me, but man, I like how this one turned out. Really happy with it. Then I would absolutely be revisiting this concept. It was supposed to be blue flames, but as I finished up this project, it kept looking like feathers to me. And so I'll have to get back and see if I can attempt more of what she did on her piece. But in my own way, I liked how this turned out, so that's why I called it Fire Feather in the end. Over the years, I've dabbled in different carving pieces, just kind of rudimentary, simple shapes. Maybe not simple, but your basic geometric patterns. Um, and I take a small step forward with each of these carving projects and coming up with more and more realistic looking things. There's a couple of YouTubers out there that are carving animals and different things with resin and wood, and I think it just looks so cool. It's a unique medium, and blending two different types of mediums together, I just think it's super beautiful. So I really like this idea. I'll be visiting this again for sure. For carving, my power carving, I'm using two systems. There are carving discs on the angle grinder. That is the best attachment for big grinding, big carving that I've ever found. They're called graph discs. There'll be a link in the description for that. The smaller carving, I'm using pretty much everything Arbortech has to offer, and that's in the description of the video as well. But man, I love Arbortech for medium-sized carving, kind of roughing out things. They've got these carbide tips type things. You can see there's balls, there's discs, different things, attachments for that pretty much all go on their version of angle grinders, and super awesome, super useful. And then in the end, this small fine one is a dental device adaptation, and I'll put all that in the video description. But I've slowly gotten all my tools together, from roughing it out with a chainsaw to lathe to carving discs on this angle grinder to Arbortech stuff to these small air powered dental carving tools essentially. And the file, it's a 1-inch sanding file, which is awesome. You can get that into corners that are hard to get to by Wen, W-E-N. All great stuff. Just over the years, you start picking up these little tips and tricks and different tools, and I've loved the ability to move a project along and not simply hand carve it. So back to the music at the very beginning of the video and the intro there, talking about some things that I don't usually do. So for the last 3 years, our organization has been called Art for OUR, and we've almost exclusively raised money for Operation Underground Railroad. The effort has been awesome. We've had tons of support over the last 3 years. We've raised over close to $100,000. I think it was $121,000. But the majority went to Operation Underground Railroad. Some went to the Tim Tebow Foundation. Some went to the Elizabeth Smart Foundation, and I think the Maloof Foundation, which has merged with the Elizabeth Smart Foundation. Anyway, a lot of things kind of came to a head. If you've watched the news about Operation Underground Railroad, the founder, Tim Ballard's in a lot of hot water right now, and lots of really unfortunate accusations flying around. Nothing's gone to court, so I'm not here to judge or condemn anybody, but clearly there have been some problems, mismanagement of things. So that's been going on. On the other side of things, I am a board certified foot and ankle surgeon, and I've been feeling this tug in my heart to do something that I can do personally, that I can contribute more to with the fight against human trafficking. I can throw money at it. I'm not a skilled, trained operative. I don't really have any more skills to really help with that, just to raise money, and that's fine. But if I can use my professional skills as a surgeon and donate that, I can donate thousands and thousands of dollars of value an hour if I can get in the operating room to help people in need who don't have insurance or don't have medical care. So over the years, some of my colleagues in the community have told me about this group called Hope for Diabetes, which feathers in nicely with what we're doing at Art Giving Hope. This group, the Tongan name that they've picked is Amanaki Fo'o'u, which is a message of new hope. Their website is Art Giving. I'm sorry, that's us. Their website is hopefordiabetes.org. And if you go on their website, you can see what they're up to. They go on missions to these Polynesian islands. Started out in Tonga. I know they spread to Samoa, and they're looking at Fiji. They're also looking at the First Nation group in Canada. All of these ethnic groups face a very similar problem, and that is genetically they are super predisposed to diabetes. As you may or may not know, diabetes very, very often very often leads to vascular damage, nerve damage, all of which, essentially you get feet that are numb. You can't feel pain. You can't feel problems. And so if you get a wound in your foot and you've got bad blood supply and your immune system's not great, all because of the diabetes, you can't fight off an infection. First of all, you don't know it happens. Then it gets infected. Then you can't heal it because you have bad blood flow. And that's why so many diabetics end up with amputations. And the really sad fact is that at the 5-year mark after a major leg amputation, the average person has about a 5-year life expectancy, which is really sad due to many factors. So in the Polynesian countries, in the whole world, they have the highest rate of diabetes, amputations, chronic wounds, the whole thing, than anywhere else in the world. The Native American, First Nation, you name it, that group also has some of them have a really high rate as well. And especially in the Polynesian nations and some of these Native American reservations and that, they just don't have resources. And so this group provides medical service missions. They go and they do lots of training. They provide free surgeries, trying to save limbs. Some do other things like working on eyesight and diet and nutrition and training about exercise and how to prevent diabetes, the whole thing, A to Z, and try to stop this epidemic of diabetes that's just destroying some of these Polynesian communities. Anyway, so I'm going to get involved. I'm going to go with them, learn what I can do. A bunch of my colleagues have jumped on board, and so we're trying to man multiple missions a year to accomplish all these goals. And what's awesome about this organization, again, it's called hopefordiabetes.org, is that they pay their own way. Nobody takes a salary. It's 100% free administrative costs. All of the money donated goes right to supplies, surgical supplies, wound care supplies, educational materials, producing educational materials, hosting classes on gardening, exercise, the whole thing, try to prevent diabetes, and then to treat the problems that are already happening and that are emergent and needed right then. They are able to take a $10 donation and turn it into $100 worth of value, something that is very rare out there. These guys are just awesome. And so I was sitting there one day. I was on call at a major hospital near my home, near my office, and this lady came in. She had just flown in from Samoa, and she'd been told by a surgeon there and a surgeon in the States that there was nothing to be done with her wound. And this thing was crazy big. We're talking from her toes all the way to her knee, massive infected wound with dead tissue. You can only imagine how bad. Thanks to the amazing training I've received from a lot of awesome forward-thinking surgeons and doctors, orthopedic, podiatric, you name it, anyone who deals with foot and ankle, infectious disease, I was able to go with my team and save her leg. And she's up walking around. She's doing great now, just about healed up. She's a month or two away from being completely healed. And it just hit me right then that this is what I wanted to do, that I needed to focus on this with my charitable work, with my free time. And I'm super excited about this because I'm still going to do this YouTube channel and our website where we're selling art, but we're going to pivot all of the sales and all of our effort towards supporting this organization, hopefordiabetes.org. And I'm able to just kind of combine every aspect of my life and put it towards this. So I'm very excited about it. And I hope if you are a previous supporter of this, that you'll find the need for this to be very large and to stick with us and keep supporting us. That would be awesome. That would be amazing. So hopefully you'll keep watching this channel, keep sharing the videos, keep making donations. This is a huge deal, a huge need. If we can save somebody's leg, save their life, we're giving so much back to these communities. And I've got big plans. I'm still learning what their needs are, but I found out that they don't have an MRI machine in Tonga, their main hospital where these people go a lot. So they have miniature MRI machines now. I'm actually installing one in my own office here within the next month or two. So I got pie in the sky dreams. I'd love to raise enough money to buy one of those and install it and help them. MRIs are critical to identifying where a foot is infected and what needs to be removed, what can be saved, which makes for far fewer major amputations. Limb salvage is the goal there, and it makes it much more possible. So just an idea of what we're getting at, what we're going to do. One of the reasons I'm always a little critical of my own work, and I know it drives some people nuts, is that I do such a variety of things that sometimes I forget the little things that I wished I'd done better. And so the only way I can remember it is if I record it here. This project, I will definitely be coming back to this. I love this thing. So a couple of things I wished I had done differently. I wished I'd made the 3 arms into 2, not 3. I think that was a little busy. I wished I hadn't made the gaps between them so big. Part of that was I didn't have a clear plan of how thin I wanted it, and as I did consciously try to make the edges really narrow, and then I realized I wanted the whole thing thin, and then as I came back to it, I just lost space. I lost wood as I kept going back and forth. So I just, first time around, this was kind of a prototype approach. So next time around, I'm going to try to keep the arms of the flames or the feathers a little closer together to make it a little more aesthetic. I think I'm going to start on the lathe next time, be a little more brave, and just shape the whole thing. I think a better symmetry would be a little more pleasing to the eye. I liked how this one turned out, but that's something I'll try differently on another one. And then I wished I had left more resin at the top so I could have flared out the tongues of flame up there, the little feather tips, a little more dramatically, like you see on Jennifer McCarthy's piece that inspired this. So we'll try that again. But for a first attempt, I'm actually quite happy with this. I'm happy where the resin ended up, just a nice balance. Maybe I'll do red next time and just do flames. But I started working on this piece before I made the decision to support Art Giving Hope, which supports the Polynesian diabetic pandemic that's going on. So it was fortuitous that I was working on this piece because the Polynesian culture, I don't know if you've ever watched a BYU football game or any team or group like the University of Utah that's got a lot of Polynesian folks on it. They'll often do the haka, which I believe comes out of New Zealand. Somebody's got to correct me on that. It's a Polynesian culture thing. They often have fire dancers. You know, we got the big sticks with fire on the end, and they spin them around and dance. So when I think of the Polynesian islands, the Polynesian countries, I think about islands, water, waves, fire, volcanoes, that kind of thing. And this piece kind of incorporates all that in an abstract way. So how fitting was that this all came together. So this will be my launch piece. I hope one of many. If you are of Polynesian descent or have contacts with the Polynesian world, please share this video with someone who might care, or even if you're diabetic or know somebody who's diabetic, that this problem touches many people, and many people have an understanding of what it means. And I'd love to generate support where I'm sure I'm going to lose some support for people who are in it to help us with human trafficking. This is an equally important problem when it comes down to a person who's suffering and has problems, and hopefully preventing this whole thing in the next generation. So ways you can support us: if you go to artgivinghope.org, there's a lot of stuff you can do. If you're an artist, you can donate a piece. We take all mediums, all kinds of artwork. If you're in the market, you can buy something. We've got merchandise from hats and hoodies and t-shirts and so on. We have a link to our Amazon store. If you do your basic Amazon shopping with that link, we are an associate of Amazon, and we earn a percentage from that. 100% of what we earn goes to this organization, to this purpose. They used to have charitable things in Amazon where you could link to the charity and part of your purchase would go to them. They've discontinued that, and what we're doing through our store earns a much higher percentage, like 10 times more than they did anyway. So it doesn't cost you any extra. Your prices don't go up when you do that. So that's probably the easiest fundraising you can possibly do, is just do your purchasing through that. If you work for a business or a store that does their business purchasing on Amazon, click on that link. You'll do some awesome charitable work. If you're a podiatrist, especially podiatry, these guys know more about limb salvage than most, as well as wound care and infectious disease, and you'd like to get involved professionally, or if you're a nurse or someone who knows anything about diabetes or wants to help and go on missions and help volunteer, go to hopeforddiabetes.org, and they've got a tab there where you can volunteer and see what's up. So anyway, I'll leave you to it. I appreciate your help going into the new year, 2024. This is a whole new direction for us at Art Giving Hope, and I hope you stick with us and throw your support in there, and I will see you on my next project. Have a wonderful weekend. Hi, I'm Dr. Dan Preece. Why am I sitting in my scrubs in a wood shop? I love doing woodworking, resin working, photography, pretty much anything that's creative. I'm also a board certified foot and ankle surgeon. I've decided to merge both of my worlds, my creative side and my professional side. Starting in January 2024, we will be supporting Amanaki Fa'atua. That's Tongan, which I've just butchered, I'm sure. But it's a phrase that means giving new hope. And what we're doing is we're supporting a group that helps fight the huge problem of diabetes in the Polynesian countries of Tonga, Samoa, Fiji, and others. I hope to use my creative skills to raise money for medical missions to help save limbs and provide education and preventative measures in these countries. Me and my colleagues will be able to use our professional skills to take any money you donate and to be able to stretch it. The group that we'll be supporting, their website is called hopeforddiabetes.org. And there you can find all that they've been doing over the last few years to supply medical missions to Tonga primarily. They're now spreading to Samoa and other countries, providing limb-saving missions, trying to help educate and teach to help prevent further loss of limb and life in these countries, which is a massive problem. The Polynesian countries face an obesity rate of almost 80%, the diabetic rate of 30 to 40%, depending on where you go. This often ends with people getting wounds, infections in their feet, which end up in amputations. The current life expectancy rate, if you have a below the knee amputation, is about 5 years. So this is a serious thing. Helping save somebody's leg and their foot provides obviously quality of life and puts years in their life. And we hope to increase that significantly with your support. So I hope you join us. I hope you continue to support us with our new venture, our new direction this year and years to come. And I'll see you in my next project. Take care.